Hello, everyone, and welcome back to the KONTAINEROZ podcast. This podcast is sponsored by PortPro, the leading operating system for drayage carriers. Check out their website at portpro.io and make sure to mention KONTAINEROZ podcast for 10% off. Today, my guest is
Emmanuel Carrillo with Talon Logistics Inc. But you could call me Manny.
What's up, Manny? Thanks for coming out all the way from
Norco, California.
how long was the drive?
Like an hour.
No traffic Saturdays.
It was perfect.
Mm-hmm.
That's like every driver's dream. No traffic on the freeways.
Well, it was good for me. It gave me time to do something that you're not gonna notice. Nobody's gonna know.
I see that picture frame, which is nice.
You knew, huh? Yeah.
Yeah.
For those of you listening, I recently painted the studio, and I took a shortcut on this bracket to hold the TV that was mounted on the wall, and I just painted around it. And today, when I repositioned the poster, I thought it would cover it, but there was white on the side sticking out, and Manny's on the way, and I'm like, oh shit. So I just spray painted around it, hoping he wouldn't notice, but he noticed.
I just noticed a nice picture frame.
Yeah, that's your nice way of saying it. So, tell us a little bit about yourself, if you don't mind, and how it started. You know, we'll work our way into that, right?
Yeah. How did it started? Well, I was born and raised in La Puente. I moved out to IE, which is Eastvale, Hooper Valley, back in like my high school days, like 2008. Joined Talon as a night dispatcher in 2013, and I was still going to school. Got my degree in business administration at Cal Baptist University. That's in Riverside.
Mm-hmm.
And the previous owner, honestly, he was like my mentor. His name's Keith Drake, and he pretty much showed me how to run operations, compliance, everything. I had to wear like a lot of different types of hats, and his specialty in trucking was always compliance. You know, if you have your compliance in place, you'll be set. You won't have any issues with your DOTs and all that good stuff. And
You can't do any trucking if you're out of service.
exactly,
Right.
exactly. So he kind of took me under his wing from 13 all the way to 19. He wanted to retire, and he wanted to sell it. He had an opportunity to sell it elsewhere, but he wanted to stick it within the family. So I had an opportunity to buy him out in 20. So this is actually going 3 years in, I think. Yeah, 3
Wow.
years as an owner, and it's been a blessing. One of our oldest customers is Starkist. Keith has been doing the Starkist business for over 30 years, and so obviously for him, his big thing was treating the customers right, treating the drivers right, and he actually like lead like no matter where you're at in companies, if you're a janitor, if anyone, you treat them the same. So I kind of took that mindset and tried to take it to the next level. And since then, we've been last year compared to 2020 compared to 2021, we grew about 52%. We have about like almost 10 people in the office, and we're operating out Texas. And we acquire like other big customers like Pepsi and Maersk, Cumbersug. So we've been doing a lot of their intermodal drayage work for them. So, but yeah, that's pretty much where I got started in the trucking. Thanks to this guy that gave me a chance, and grateful. And now I'm just trying to pay it forward everywhere I can. Especially for me, it's always been when I took over the drivers, treating your drivers good, dude. That's always been like
That's the heart of the operation.
Yeah.
You can't have a trucking company without truckers.
Yeah, and I feel like a lot of people in this industry that I'm not saying a lot, but like they have that old school mindset, just treating drivers as a number, and no, we treat our drivers like human beings. Like the perfect way I say it is the way we treat our customers is exactly the way we treat our drivers. That relationship building. I have my director. I go out myself and someone else in the office. We meet our drivers every Thursday, pass out their checks or their settlements, pass out lunch, have a one-on-one, kind of talk to them. It's right there. Our little office is in the back gate of Peoria outside. of Puree.
Oh.
Yeah, so we just meet there and kind of talk and while they're moving around and stuff like that. So
I wouldn't like that. If there was a last free day, I can't lie to you and say I got stuck at somewhere. No, I see you.
Yeah.
Go back. Just do a U-turn. Go back in there. Ask for it, please.
Yeah. So Puree has been a big partner in our business. You know, we're really flexible with us. So, but yeah, training. I want to see if we could take our industry and, you know, obviously I see other companies doing too. Treating the drivers good. I think we got to stop with the forced dispatching and black sheeping drivers for not doing work, and, you know, and also, you know, just be picky with your work. You know, consider what your drivers go through. You know, like a lot of we refuse to go out to certain terminals just because the long lines and all that stuff. You know, we take in consideration when we take on new business how long it will take our drivers to do it and our operators, like, and because at the end of the day, you want them to be happy. If they're working happy, they come home happy, family's happy, work-life balance. That's perfect.
Yeah, and forgive me if I sound like a bad host, but I'm pretty sure I was paying attention. But when you describe the acquisition of the company over to you, right, the transfer or whatever you want to call it, you mentioned you wanted to keep it in the family.
Mm-hmm.
But I don't recall you saying that he was related to you in the beginning. But you became family, is what you're saying?
Yeah. So
you just felt comfortable with you.
Yeah. So we're not related, but he's like it's a weird relationship. He's like my mentor slash, you know, I have a father. I love him to death too, but he's also like a father figure, best friend. You know, it's all into one. And, you know, we don't have to, you know, sugarcoat ourselves. We could just say whatever the fuck we want to say.
Yeah, sometimes you're pissed off and just let it out.
Yeah.
Those are the best relationships, when you can just go all out and then the next day, what's up, bro?
Yeah,
you know,
pretty
no
much.
hard feelings.
Yeah,
you got a couple friends like that.
We do it out of love. That's why.
Yeah. I cuss you out because I love you, man.
He has made that comment too.
Unblock me. Nice. Well, you're definitely blessed. Like, that's an opportunity that not everyone gets, and it's definitely well deserved. I'm assuming. Well, not assuming. It's evident. Yeah. A businessman. It's like game recognized game. So a businessman knows that another man has the capabilities to take over. So you're chosen for a reason, you know? And it's funny you mentioned dispatch, because I have that curiosity that does being involved in dispatch in a drayage company or any it amplifies your chance of running that company successfully versus just someone that came from being a driver and starts a company. You know, who would have a better advantage there?
I hate to say that. Honestly, it's not about where you start as experience. It's about the character of the person. I think if you're driven, you have that grit, you're going to find any way you can to be successful. Because it's like, I'm either going to put in 100% in or not. Like, driver, you know, I've seen a lot of drivers that become, you know, they become successful little businesses. They have a fleet of 10, 15 trucks. So I just think it's a character, honestly. That's my opinion.
Okay. So it doesn't matter the title that you go in with. It's where you're going with you as an individual.
Exactly.
Not like, I'm gonna have a better chance than him because I'm a dispatcher. Or I'm going to have a better chance than him because...
I just think when you have that mindset, if you have that mindset, you're already failing, you know? The only person you have to compare yourself is you. That's my opinion.
Yeah. A lot of times we fail by looking at other people, like comparing chapters. Like my chapter, okay, I compare, let's just use me for example. It's like I'm not going to compare my chapter 1 with your chapter 12. Like, although we cross paths at the same time, it doesn't mean you're on the same chapter as me. Yeah. Or likewise, you know.
Same road.
Yeah, eso. All right. So, why a trucking company? Because you were already in it, or was this really something that you were on? You know, a goal, a childhood goal. Was this the first pick, or what did you have in mind?
Honestly, this was I did not plan to be in trucking. going
Trucking
business.
chose you.
Yeah, trucking chose us and chose me, but and you. No, honestly, when I was going to school, I was like, you think big. You're going to school and you're thinking big. It's like, man, I want to go work in business for Fox Studios, WB. Just like thinking way out in the stars and skies. But hey, got to dream big. And when I was going to school, I was actually a site supervisor where Talon was at on their customer's yard. And, the director at the time, came up saying he needs someone to dispatch. And I was like, yeah, sure, I'll give it a shot. I'll give it a shot. So, so I started doing dispatching and then and trucking. And I was like, man, this is actually a good industry to be in. And I started getting into started reading articles about it. It's about supply chain, how back in 2014, I know they did a statistics that the demand to be in supply chain is going to grow by like 2024, and I think COVID just kind of just amplified that a little bit more. Boomed it. So
got the Dollar Tree being $1.25, about to be $1.50.
$1.50, yeah. But yeah, so yeah, it was the last option on my plate, trucking. It just kind of chose, and I saw the opportunity, and honestly, all the connections you meet, dude, like customers, drivers, meeting you, meeting Jill Mars, meeting Nancy, every people, like in all different aspects of the industry, like you get to meet and you build relationships of. So I think that's a blessing, just being able to meet people and work with them. You know what I mean?
As passionate about it as you are, you didn't think there would be others, like, oh, you guys love trucking too? Let's see what we can do.
Yeah.
Right? And do you have a CDL, or do you ever plan to get one? Do you think it's a good asset, like to save the day?
I don't have a CDL. I do want to get one. Just you never know. You got to take a truck to the shop or have someone in the office that has a CDL. That's kind of nice to have.
Yeah. Yeah, a lot of the small companies, when they start, like the guy has to go in and save the day, because that last free day is the difference between a profit and a loss at the casino,
Yeah.
Mike said something in the last episode, episode 4, that drayage is high stakes gambling. That one stuck with me.
Yeah, that is true. You could get per diem and demurrage, all that good stuff.
I was lurking through your Instagram, and what stood out was that post about the TEUs for last year, right? For 2021. 17,841 TEUs.
Correct.
Which means 20 foot or equivalent unit, right?
Correct.
Wow, right?
Yeah, that's a big increase. That's for sure.
When did you start keeping track of all those statistics, and what provides you that?
So we have like Excel sheets for all of our customers, and we have tabs but by year. So, last year I think we were like at, I'll say like 9,000 TEUs around there roughly.
Wow.
But when we started the company, like when Keith started the company back in 2007, we were only moving like about 3,000, 4,000 TEUs at a time. And, so it's a goal, you know what I mean? I like to keep track of it and just see, if I'm heading in towards the right direction.
Yes.
And I think it's a big achievement. We're just a little nickel in the industry.
No matter the size, they all contribute to this supply chain.
Yeah.
We're all connected. It's amazing, the web, how big it expands.
Yeah.
This is a question someone asked me one time. I posted something about TEUs, and they said, okay, so what do you call the 53 footers? What are those?
Those are, I think, intermodal boxes, right?
They don't call, TEU 220s. It's a 40-foot container. So what do you use for a 45 or 53? What do they count them as? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Are those just one unit
boxes, or you just divide it by 20 and you get 2.1? I don't know.
2.1 TEUs.
I'll BS you if I don't know the answer.
Yeah, but I was just curious as well. I thought, I would ask,
Yeah.
So why don't you flex a little bit for us? Like, what does what does Talon Logistics, a company like the one you're running now, look like? Like, describe it. Like, we got this many dispatch, we got this trucks, etc. Like, so we could get a visual.
So we have about 10 people in the office, and out of the 10 people, that's management, dispatching, account receivable. We're going to be hiring we're hiring someone else in February and 2 more in the next quarter. So we're going to be up to 15 people by the end of the year. As far as company drivers, they're not really, they're all 1099 drivers. A lot of our drivers like to be self-employed and kind of, we help, and we're pretty flexible when it comes to their scheduling and stuff like that. But we have total in California, we could tap into about 62 drivers right now. And then in Texas, we have over 30 drivers out there. So that's where we're at with driver-wise. We don't like to get overwhelmed with too many drivers, because at the end of the day, we also look at how much drivers are making per day. We want to make sure they're making their $1,000 to $1,500 a day, because that's a crucial from an owner-operator perspective.
Yeah,
they have a minimum they have to make a day. So
yeah,
as far as the work and as far as the volume, we project. We don't want to have too many drivers, and then it takes away from other drivers, and they're only making $700, $800 a day.
That's interesting, because some companies don't care as long as they cover the cargo.
We care,
because that happened to me before. Like, the company's doing great, there's enough work for everyone, and then they always say, "Oh, bring us a driver. We need more drivers." So, everyone does their part. They bring more drivers, but now the volume of work didn't really increase, but it's just more like a security blanket for the company. Yeah. So we're helping them to, affect our volume.
Yeah.
If that makes sense. So it's good that you take that into consideration, because most companies don't.
Yeah.
So it could be 100 loads divided by 10 guys, and everybody's eating. Yeah. Everybody's moving 10 units. Now you double that. Now you're down to 5, and they still made their cut regardless.
Oh yeah.
But the drivers individually, they're hurting.
They're not taking, they're getting, for example, $250 less that day, or $300 less that day. Just hence the reason why we go out there every Thursday to see. That's, like I said, we treat them as customers as well. They give us our feedback, like, hey, we do need extra drivers. Let's bring on some extra drivers. No, we'll get it done. So that's the reason why we like to have those one-on-ones with all those owner-operators and drivers that we have in our fleet.
Nice. And I'm sure it's reflected in the driver's loyalty to you to a degree, right? Because if it slows down, then obviously they got to go shop around. But I can guarantee that lessens the chance of drivers just dropping work last minute.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Because when they feel that they're just an option, they'll do the same to you.
Oh, yeah.
You're just an option. Like, I'll get more over here. Screw your last free day or whatever. This is better for me.
Yeah, and it's funny you say that, because we just got a yard out in Ontario, and it's in the dairies, and we got some it rained, so obviously what happens, containers start sinking. So I have one of my ops managers out there, and my wife, because she's the one that helps me run the yard out there as well. And she's like saying, like, man, all your drivers are so, like, they're positive mindset. Like, they could be, like, pissed off doing the work, helping us out, or they could be happy doing the work. Life goes on a lot better when you just have a positive mindset. And it's like, dude, your drivers have a positive mindset. It's insane. Because if I was in their shoes, I'll be freaking pissed.
Does it have to do with the work environment, or do you send them little pep talks? Hey, have a great day.
We usually have a group text with all, like, individually with all the drivers.
Nice.
And we, it's not just work. We mess around. We send memes to each other. We call one of our drivers, uncle or tío. Just little things like that. And then, like I said, just to treat the way we treat them. I think that's why they're like that.
Yeah, there's always that one guy that's got to make it X-rated, or said some weird shit.
Yeah, we got a few of those.
I know you guys saw my message, man. Why is no one replying?
Yeah, man. Liability standpoint.
Yeah, well, you never reply to those, right?
No.
Allegedly. Okay.
Yeah.
Moving on. Hey, your your relationships with your customers seem great. I know
Mhm.
you mentioned earlier, right? The
Correct.
customer service, but and they look solid. So and you seem grateful. So building that relationship, do you think that gives you leverage? Not that it's an ulterior motive why you're nice to them or go,
Yeah.
but courtesy is always welcomed, right?
Yeah.
But you think that gives you an advantage over competitors that might want to underbid you to take your customer? Does that establish loyalty between you, or will they ditch you for someone that'll do it $10 less a T?
Yeah. That's definitely loyalty there. But at the same time, the way we look at it, like for example, COVID right now, people are charging customers an arm and a leg. You know, premium rates. I've been hearing some insane rates from Port to Compton, charging a customer $1,600.
Commerce $3,000 is the most I've heard.
That's insane. But guess what? When things slow down,
Exactly.
customers remember that.
Yes.
So we not once upped the rate during COVID for premium charge or nothing. And if anything, we up our pricing with our drivers, just a little bit, but we took a lesser profit, just to give them a little raise, just to kind of motivate them as well to kind of go from there. But we never went to the customers to give us more money. So I'm hoping it's not just treat them nice and stuff like that, but it's also the actions we take place. We're not like every other customer charging, because I'm not going to disclose what customer, but
Say it. Nah.
one customer told me that they mentioned, like, from all over the country, they said that we're the only carrier that haven't upped the price during this COVID pandemic. Everyone broke their contract, wanted a rate increase. And he's like, and they kind of mentioned, we remember those type of things. So,
And it confirms what you thought, right?
Yeah.
So there's contracts when you agree on rates with customers. How long are those contracts for usually? Are they open to renegotiate the rates at a certain point?
A lot of our customers are not contract based, but our oldest customer is. It's a long term, so it depends, because it has to also go with what steamship line they're using. It has to align with everyone. They can't make me a longer contract than the steamship line, because what if they change steamship lines and it goes to a different terminal or go to a different location? So it all has to align, with the steamship line and the terminals and where they're coming from. So, but it could be anywhere from like 4 years to 6 years,
So that's already a company that's pretty stable and doing good, obviously.
Mm-hmm.
When you're at that point, when you're already dealing with, with steamship lines, right?
Mm-hmm.
What does that look like when you go do that contract? Like, you guys meet up somewhere? Is it like a Zoom call, or you email? Do you bring an attorney? Are there attorneys for this type of thing?
No, it's so like the customer usually does their own contract with the steamship line. We're not involved, but they make sure whatever the terms they have as far as length aligns with our contract as far as lengthwise.
Between you and customer. So
Yes.
it's between you and customer, and then customer and the steamship line.
Correct. Yeah, and then but they usually send us a rough draft, and obviously we send it to our attorneys, review it to see if it it protects both parties. At the end of the day, you want to make sure it's fair. You want to do your fiduciary duties to make it fair for your customer, fair for us as a carrier. And then once we agree, then we set a time to go to their office and execute the contract.
What are the things you look for in a contract that we should look out for? Like, what's important to you? If you had to pick one of the top things you're looking for through that tiny print.
Two things. It's actually two things.
Okay.
Minimum a year. Like, obviously you want to make sure you do like a statistics of how much volume they bring in to that port, to the location. And, you don't want to set the bar too high, but not set the bar too low. Compare notes with the customer and the carrier. Here's the minimum volume that you need to do a year, because obviously that just guarantees you, where your projections are going to be looking at for the year, to support the drivers, owner operators, and all that good stuff. And then
That's why you had those statistics, 17,000
Yeah.
TEUs. You know what your capacity is.
yes, exactly. So it's a
Ah.
win-win.
It's good to know your
Yeah.
shit then.
Yeah.
Like owner-ops, I got to know their operating costs, so you got to know more than that.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Continue. I'm
And,
sorry.
No worries. And then second thing is inflation. Obviously, you don't want to be locked in for a rate for 5 years and there's no increase or anything. You want to make sure, you're not gonna. Like I said, like you gotta be fair. You gotta be fair to the customer, fair to the carrier, but do something with like annual rate increases. Don't do like 10% increases a year, but do something. So what I do is I like to go into the statistics online and check what's the average inflation cost. Like right now it's 6%. Obviously, if we do 6% per year for the customer, that's insane. So you got to meet middle ground. Like, do you do 4%? Do you do 3%? It's just you have to look at those type of things.
And what do they gauge inflation off of? The cost of living,
Cost of living,
or the cost to operate?
the cost of living, just
Cost
in
of
general.
living. Okay.
Yeah, that's important.
So you could keep it proportional. So if it ever goes up 6%, right?
Yeah,
We go this high. If it goes 10, we go this high. But you'll never really match the exact
exactly.
percentage.
You just want to like average it out. I'll say like anywhere from 2 to 4.5%. It has to be fair for the customer. It has to be a discussion between both parties.
So that's like a clause. Excuse me. You know what? I got this coffee right here, and I'm over here with a dry throat.
Starbucks.
Alright.
Can't go wrong with that.
Where was I? I think I lost my train of thought with a little brain freeze right there. Inflation, proportional. So, yeah. Oh, it'll come back to me.
Yeah.
So, so that's like within like a clause, right? Just meaning just if it happens. But other than that, you go based on the primary agreement. When does that kicks in? Only if inflation occurs?
No, that kicks in. So you get an increase every year.
Oh, okay.
So that's why you don't want to make sure it's not 6% because it's only going to be 6% temporarily. You just never know. So that's why you want to make sure the way I look at it, it's like, what's a perfect way when you sell apparel? You get your cost of apparel for landed. It's what, $10, landed and done $10 and you sell it 3 times what it's worth. I gotta go off that kind of mythology, I guess, or method. I just do like, okay, 6%, I'll do 1/3 rate increases a year. I think that's fair. We're not asking for 6% every year. We're asking for 1/3 of it.
Do you think carriers, when they're on that contract level, like if you had like we're buddies, right? But I don't have a big company like yours. But let's just hypothetically speaking say, hey, I'm about to do a contract. Do you mind sharing me yours so I know to compare it? Is that unethical, or is that like, hey, bro, look, here's what mine looks like. Make sure you get something within these margins, or is that not a good idea in this competitive market?
You just never know. Like if I have like a close friend that I know for years, I'll kind of obviously hide out the details of my contract, but I could give them like it's all the customer contracts are pretty much kind of the same. Yeah, I think if you go to like an attorney, they kind of rough it out the same way.
Why should it be secretive like that? What is there to be taken out of that contract if it gets in the wrong hands?
In this market and trucking, just people trying to underbid you all the time, and not just, like for example, like XPO, Hub, and those big companies, they do the rates for a lot cheaper. They provide low rates.
Yes.
But because they think, they have the infrastructure, they have the networking, they could tap into the network to get the job done. As far as a company like mine or a company like, Franco Trucking or, just like Long Beach, LA trucking companies, we don't have that type of resources, that type of network to get that job done in a lower rate. But yeah, just got to be careful, because it's not the first time. I heard stories, from the previous owner, how they try to take away the, customers and underbid and stuff like that.
You get what you pay for, though. There was a scenario of a company I hauled for. They lost a customer to another company that went way cheaper. But then with that cheap rate, you could say that company feels that they're entitled to kind of half-ass the service. Like, how were you to demand me to be here at a certain time if I'm, you're paying way less with me. You get it when you get it.
Yeah.
So that customer was having issues where they would get their shit all late, and the guys were sloppy. They would just drop shit anywhere, and you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So then they went back to the old customer, and it's like, okay, cool, but now it's gonna cost you this much more. So they kind of upped the price on them because they threw them off gacho. I think when you got customers, you kind of structure your operations based on that.
Yeah.
So that kind of threw like what do they say? A gear in a monkey wrench, or what do you say it? You know that saying?
I don't know the saying, but I know what you're trying to say.
The point is the gears are going nice and cool, and then you throw something out of nowhere, boom, screwed up your plans.
Yeah.
So they wanted them back because they liked their service. They just didn't like their price. But basically, they learned the value of,
a nice carrier that gets the job done.
yes, and that comes with a good price.
Yeah.
Right. So.
Yeah, that's funny you say that. It's I heard from 2 customers of mine saying, they give the XPL, like when we throw bids out, don't cheat yourself at a low price just because XPO is gonna give a low bid. They kind of reference good carriers as VIP carriers, and they kind of like, we will pray for like a decent price because it's not just the service of getting the load done, but the customer service, emailing them, customizing our operation to tailor that specific customer. That goes a long way. So
little details that they remember and take into consideration. And do you know how you guys got the first customer ever? Did he ever share that with you?
So Keith got StarKiss. I think he was doing it since the 80s. And he was at a different company called, I forgot, CK, I don't know, Countrywide. I have no idea what the name of the company was, but every time StarKiss left to a different carrier, he will follow. And then, if that makes sense.
Huh.
Yeah. So he always had a good relationship with the customer going way back. And yeah, so he pretty much jumped through several companies when StarKiss told him, like, hey, we're going to be leaving this carrier. We're going to go here. So if you want to put in, we could put a good word for that company. Let's say, hey, we like this person that operates our account. So, he'll be going, different carriers until one point that they were, I forgot what the name of the last company that StarKiss had before Talon took over. They pretty much gave him the ultimatum, like, hey, we're going to be leaving this carrier. Either you start your own company or we're going to go somewhere else. So he kind of pretty much had to start his own company back in 2007. So he had to take a loan off his house, buy some trucks, get everything going.
Wow.
So he really sacrificed a lot.
That's a big bet on yourself.
Yeah. He was like, you could tell, he started late in the game too. He was about 50 something when he started the company.
Wow.
Yeah, so he was not too happy. He only had like 10 years to retire.
Wow.
Yeah. So he jumped through several carriers because StarKiss moved to different carriers. And then since we've been having it since 2007, it's been 14, 15 years with StarKiss. And we just kind of, and then people get comfortable. Carriers get comfortable. You have this customer for a long time. Oh, well, we'll do their work later. We'll do this other customer.
Let's secure this other bag.
Never, always make sure. The way I look at it, my financial advisor told me, it's like, it's not.
You have a financial advisor?
Yes. Yeah.
Nice. Interesting.
He mentioned, it's easy to get a customer, but it's harder to maintain that customer. So you have to work harder just to make sure they're there with you longer. So that kind of stuck with me. Like, okay, I got to excel my services, excel for them. Don't get, we always get comfortable in life as people. oh, we'll get to it. We'll get to it. You know, just like, no, we always have to make sure we're always on our toes. How could we get better and improve that customer service for the customer? So I don't know, it just stuck with me, you know, and it's just been every time I feel like I'm slacking off or operation slacking off, I'm like, okay, we got to get back to the roots.
We're human, though. I'm going to admit, I'm working on my customer service when it comes to shipping my merch.
Mm-hmm.
I've been horrible. And all I got to say is that right now this was a reminder to me to always keep that customer service like the priority, you know, because their support makes you, you know, there's like, that's a relationship.
Yeah.
They're taking time out of their day to go on your website, KONTAINEROZ.com. and buy and buy discount code KTZ10 for 10% off. Oh man. Hey, so they took time out of their day to, you know, support, and you can't take time of yours to pack their shit and ship it, you know.
Yeah.
And maybe you made a sale, but it's your first and your last sale.
Yeah.
Right? Because you got comfortable. Oh, I made a sale.
Yeah.
The money's there. They might not come back.
So how can you make that repeat sale?
Come out with some more gear and stop pissing them off.
Yeah.
I do make it up to them, though. I send a little surprise or maybe an extra of the item they bought.
Yeah.
And sometimes I just forget, and then I already sealed the envelope, so I'm like, I'm sorry, bro. I'm sorry. I still send good vibes in it. I bless it. Send it on its way.
Let's call that good juju.
Yeah. Then they put that sticker on, and because of that blessing, you know, I sent the good vibe. Boom. Everywhere they go, in and out in like 20 minutes.
Yeah.
I hope. But let's see. Since we're still on this customer service thing, do you have any advice for other carriers as far as how to get a customer and how to keep one?
How to get a customer? Like what Pepsi, I got it as a cold call. I just randomly called, and you know, and
how did that go? Pretend I picked up the phone. What are you doing when they answer? What's your?
I looked up a loan match, right?
Okay.
And you know, I submitted an email and they had responded, so I kind of found out who the person that posted that email on the loan match, that posting. And I spoke to that person. Hey, I'm wondering if you guys are interested, if you guys need more power to operate this lane. And they're like, all I say is like, we're not interested in taking on the whole business. You know, we just want to make sure if you want to use us as a backup carrier, we could do, you know, a couple runs if you like us. Cool. So and they get us, you know, they got us set up through their, you know, onboarding, you know, situation. And we kind of pretty much before we do the loads, we kind of let them know what we need from them and kind of go from there and just let our customer service and operations and drayage do all the work. And they like the way our services do. And they're like, hey, do you want to do more work? You want to do more work? And little by little, we're like, man, we play a crucial key in the West Coast because it's all intermodal. It's all rail work for them.
Okay.
They have their own private boxes, which is nice.
They do?
Yeah. They have POYU boxes. So
POYU?
Yeah. So they started with, you remember those old Pacer boxes?
Yeah, the big blue ones.
Yeah. So right? they got some of those. Not the best,
but they
renamed them.
Yeah.
Okay. And they actually bought brand new ones.
So Pacer went out the door, right? Yeah. Or were just under another name? I don't remember.
They went out the door.
And then XPO. It was around. It was a lot of changes going on around that time.
Yeah,
right?
yeah. So they bought some of their boxes, and then they actually bought brand new boxes this last year. So just like I said, customer service, that goes a long way. And then just the way we treat our customers, treat them like number one, treat our drivers number one. Because if you need both sides, all we are, and we're just the middle people, just kind of being their eyes and ears for the customers, for the drivers, vice versa, to get the job done. And then obviously customize report to the way they like it.
Mm-hmm.
And just communicating with them on email.
And also reach out to them, right?
Mm-hmm.
Don't wait for them to. I think most go based on the emails they get. Like, what do you got for me? Like, oh, you got that? Let me call you. But it's not like going out of their way to like to chase something intentionally. Most connections have been made by someone reaching out to them and they reply. They were not in control of that outcome entirely. But all I want to say is that's initiative matters.
Mm-hmm.
Otherwise, you wouldn't have got that Pepsi account.
Yeah.
They weren't going to call you. They didn't know who you were, right?
Yeah, they don't care. And also, that going back to that question, how to retain that customer, get it and keep it. Don't worry about the work. Just worry about the relationship. The work will come after.
But that balanced relationship with the driver, that work might not be beneficial to the driver, you said earlier, right?
Yeah.
It sounds a little stressful, but rewarding once you get the rhythm going,
Yeah.
Why do you think some companies, they obviously got the capital, why don't some companies just do their own thing? Like, let's say the StarKist or Pepsi, like, why do they need outside carriers? I don't know if that's a dumb question, but why do they choose that path?
Probably cheaper than not having their own, because you think about it.
Liabilities?
Not really, probably to a certain extent.
Okay.
But just imagine starting up a whole trucking division. You have to pay workers' comp. You got to pay insurance. You got to keep track of, have a whole team of safety, compliance, all that good stuff. And I could tell you right now, I'm pretty sure workers' comp and trucking is expensive. Super expensive.
That's going to get interesting as well with that AB5 if that goes through. Right now it's still kind of in the air. Or do you have any updates? You heard anything?
It's in the air. One of our attorneys, he's actually was one of the lead counsels for CTA.
Okay.
And he's helped fight that battle, with AB5 like a year ago or whatever. And all he says, you can have the best contract with the owner operator, but he even says the same thing. It's all about relationships. Make sure you keep the drivers happy. If they're happy, why would they, sue, or why would you do this? So just make sure you just keep that relationship with them. So a lot of people forget that.
Damn, if you think about it, it's kind of creepy, but this shit kind of can be the same advice for like maintaining a marriage,
or friendship, or or
everything. You don't want them over here swapping placards on the weekends, like, no, you got to be loyal to this company,
Yeah.
What did you do to lose that, Yeah, so let's see. So I asked you about that, retaining the customer, but let's see. Once you're big, do the worries of loss ever cross your mind? Like, man, I'm up here. Like, I know it's negative thinking, but we're human. Every now and then, it's got to come through. Like, do you ever feel that? Like
losing a company, or
like any fear of loss? Like, man, what would happen if I lost this? Like, what would I do? What would you be if you lost this company?
That's a good question. Try to think about that one. Lost a company. Obviously, like any decisions we make, like now, I don't look at it from my standpoint. I look at, running a business is not just always, I'm gonna make this decision to make money. I'm gonna make this decision to grow faster. Every time I make a decision, I always think about my employees in the office, think about my drivers. Because man, if I hate to say it, if I do one bad fuck up, it's not just my job on the line.
Yeah, you carry that.
It's everyone's, and that's like a burden, for I think all like companies like around my size, and for that family-owned business, model, people that are it's a family-based trucking business, they carry that weight, I believe, and and I could tell you this, Keith told me, and this is more of a personal thing.
If you're comfortable with it, feel free.
Yeah, when I took over, I was so happy. I'm like, man, I'm gonna, just like a little boy, like trying out a new toy. Yeah. And he just told me, just remember, you're gonna sacrifice. He's like, you're gonna lose sleep. You're gonna be stressed out. You might get even depressed. And I remember like that first time I took over, and There's days I didn't sleep. There's days I was going through like this whole mental breakdown. Like, I'm very vocal on my personal page. Like, I seek therapy like every week. I think it's good for you to seek therapy. And because honestly, like without that direction, from a professional, man, I'll be lost. I'll be short fused. I'll be tempered. You got to show communication with empathy, everything, So I remember when he told me that, and I was like, I didn't believe it. And once I took over, I was like, holy cow, he was right. It's a game changer.
Heavy is the head that wears the crown.
Yeah,
right?
yeah, exactly.
Those sayings aren't just sayings for the fuck of it. They have meaning,
Yeah. So it is. I'm always thinking about that now, and now I just have guidance. I have professional, people to help me guide it. I remember I was talking to some of my family members, and I was like embarrassed about it, going to therapy.
That's
it's
the
like,
bad thing. We shouldn't be.
No.
We need to make it more like
vocal.
Yeah, like
Yeah.
You're less of a man if you lie to yourself and don't face the problem.
Yeah.
It takes balls to be like, I gotta deal with this, man.
Yeah, and I remember my brother-in-law telling me, he was like, man, strong people seek therapy because they need guidance. They hit this roadmap. They hit this roadblock, and they need to seek professional guidance. And, since then, I've been kind of like vocal about it. Like, I'm blessed, by seeking therapy, helped me as a business owner, helped me as a father, helped me as a husband, helped me as a friend, as a son, as a sibling. It has. I think overall in life, it has helped me become a better person. The way I approach things, the way understanding their perspective. It's so. Going back to that question, if I lose everything, I think I'll be okay because I have people that will help me get through it.
Yeah, I guess I could rephrase it to tone it down a little bit. It may have been a little too direct, like extreme, like lose everything. But I mean, just like a thought every now and then we get like, because sometimes we gotta like chill and back off and look at where we're at. Like, wow, all this is me. This is what I'm blessed with right now. Like, well, I hope I never lose this. Like, well, I don't know what I would do. Just little thoughts like that. But then you carry on, and maybe that pushes you to keep hustling and stay the course.
Yeah.
Knowing that your people depend on you, I'm sure that has a lot to do with why you stayed up. Yeah. That kind of pressure it won't let you sleep good at night.
No.
Now, if no one's counting on you, add depression to that. Like, what the fuck is there to live for? You just sleep in all day and.
Yeah. You get those moments you don't sleep, and then you get those moments you just don't want to get out of bed. Yeah, you get those.
It's horrible going through a day that you don't want to be involved in. I've had to do that before. I don't know if you had, but they go by so slow, man. It's like, and everything happens that day. Like, really, today, you want to be the one to find out? Fuck around and find out.
Yeah, that's where you get the little, I say like my little Puentes raised area. You're really gonna short fuse me right now.
Yeah. At what point did you say, okay, I need to do this? I need to seek help? Did someone bring it to your attention, or you just tired of it? You're like, okay, obviously I don't know how to do it.
My wife has been telling me this for years, obviously, but I think getting into this bigger role, like I had to put my ego aside. I got to do what's right for the company. I can't just go with the same mindset. I could do this on my own, and, with my mentor, like, no, like, I need to be good spiritually. I need to be good mentally to run. So I remember when I first told my wife about it, he was like, yeah, I'm thinking about doing therapy. She's like, oh my God, thank God. And like I said, since then, it's been a blessing in disguise. I have never thought it was going to be like that. And then also just looking at my previous mentor, he came through all these, he went through that, you know what I mean? And, I kind of, obviously you see someone going through that, you want to make sure you want to adapt and be different, you want to do better. And, and obviously, like, for me and him, like, we're in a good place. My mentor, he's fully retired, but I still go to his house every Tuesday. We share a cocktail, we share laughs, we share, whatever. And, we're in a better place, him and I, and I think for him seeing me going through therapy, kind of seeing like, man, that's a good step for me to kind of be in this role, especially if I'm traveling to different locations, opening up like Texas, and we're gonna be opening up in Arizona too. So,
all right. So once you take that step, now you ain't scared to go across state lines. Texas, why not do Arizona? Why not do Georgia? Why not, you know?
Yeah, whatever the customer needs us at, we're going to try our best to do it.
So when you had that, and let me know if you want to get off the topic at any time.
No worries.
I respect your space or whatever. When you went to, I guess I'm kind of curious myself because I may be interested in getting some help as well, you know?
Okay, yeah.
But in the past, I just had bad experiences. And I'm not going to make it about me, but I'm just going to share that with you.
Okay.
That I took it, at that time, I didn't know this whole, the cuatro acuerdos, you know, like one of the main ones is like, don't take nothing personal and don't assume, you know, they're very important. Be impeccable with your words. Always do your best. Just 4 basic principles, you know, for life.
Yeah.
Do so much with those. My mistake is I took it personal and I assumed she didn't care about me. I had messaged her like basically suicidal tendency type of conversation. Yeah. And what did she do? She just texted me a suicide hotline number, you know?
Okay, yeah.
So I felt like, really? That's what you could do for me? Right?
Yeah.
But then I stopped going to therapy. That time I was really breaking down and I'm like, I wanted her help. And I felt like there was no value of my life to her to give me the time needed to maybe save my life. I know it sounds selfish or petty, but at the time I was just tunnel vision, like, you should help me. You should do this when I have the power to do it. Yeah. It's just I had to switch my mindset. Mm-hmm. So ever since then, I didn't do therapy because I thought that they're fake. And obviously, if they do it for money, it's like, you just tell me what I want to hear. You know, the fuck I want to go hear some bullshit for, you know?
Yeah.
I got this. But then thinking back of that, it made me want to ask you this. Did you kick it off right away with your therapist or did you shop around? Because my girl says, hey, maybe she wasn't a good fit for you. Just try someone else. Maybe there's liabilities. She can't give you advice. What if you do kill yourself? And now, based on her advice, she's in a bind.
Yeah.
So it's a lot of scenarios.
So for me, other person I know, I'm not going to disclose who he is. He went to a second therapy. He did shop around because he didn't like his first one. And he's doing good now. For me, the guy I met, we hit it off. It was a Hispanic dude, and we come from he's like, hey, we're Hispanics. We're, you know, our culture, we got to be machismo. Mm-hmm. You know, kind of like, you got to, you know, therapy. Who needs therapy? You know, like, that's out the door. So we kind of just hit it off, and he kind of, you know, I think the first session, damn, cried like a baby. So I was just fortunate. I was really fortunate to came across that guy. It was a referral of a friend that sent me that person's info. So,
well, you're blessed. Like, that's the first one. Boom.
Yeah,
that's good. And crying is always good therapy, whether you're with a therapist or not.
Yeah,
yeah. Machismo aside, I've cried in my truck before, and it wasn't planned. You're just driving around, and I guess your subconscious is like, bro, your life sucks right now. You're like, you're right, bro.
Or you get we get that one song that just hits home, and it's just like,
oh shit. Yeah. Which song is that for you?
I have a few. It just random. It just depends on the day. There's a few. You might be having a bad day, or, you know, you're not the best, you know, and you be driving to work, and then next thing you know, you're like, why the fuck am I driving right now? Mm-hmm.
Mine was a Pearl Jam song.
Pearl Jam?
Yeah. Jeremy.
Okay, I need to listen to it.
Yeah. But yeah, okay. I'm happy for you, man. That's, you know, it just shows that just because you're successful or other people see you as successful, it doesn't mean you're happy or you can be. Like, it's not always like that.
It's a work in progress. Yeah. Life is just in general.
Or some guys probably think like, man, I'm a company driver right now. I want to be an owner of, then I want to own a company, then I want to have this big ass fleet, and then I'll be happy. Well, if they fast forward to it and they actually get it, how long does it last before it, you know, it's that little feeling. You get that new car, it'll last you like 2 weeks, they say the average is.
Yeah.
Then you're back to the ungrateful ways, and it's like, what else? What else?
Yeah. You just gotta appreciate life, man. You know, like I said,
Excuse me.
I have other family, you know, and friends, like they went through some hardship too, and it's kind of, I just think life in general, you gotta just appreciate it.
Nice. Thank you for sharing that. That's a very personal thing. Not everyone wants to open up about it.
Yeah.
You know.
Well, I felt, you know, I think the vibe as we're talking, you know, I was a little nervous coming in here.
I'm nervous. I'm still nervous every time. You know.
But just, I don't know. I believe, you know, when your heart wants to speak and your soul wants to speak, you know, you want to speak because you never know. So maybe someone else might need that push too, because I was stubborn as well. So, you know, if I could, you know, if you want, you know, like referrals or people want referrals, I could send you, you know, some of my referrals, you know, to seek. And therapy is like, honestly, I feel good about it. You know what I mean? I really do. I think we all need it. I think our coach, in today's society where we live in, I think we all need it. That's my opinion.
It's like maintenance, right? Like, but for the vibes.
Yeah.
You go, you know, get the vibe check, come out, clear that mindset.
Yeah. Reset, reground, and then when you're not with the therapist, you have ways to
coping mechanisms.
Coping mechanism, regrounding.
Yeah. And you never had to self-medicate? I ended up falling victim of that. Not victim. That's a horrible word. I'm trying to get rid of that shit. But I ended up choosing that.
Self-medicating, like how so? Like
drug use, alcohol, stuff to numb the pain.
I can say like
there's many ways, bro. I can give you a whole list of things people do, but everyone's different, you know?
Yeah, I think for me it was drinking in my 20s, kind of going through some, you know, mess, you know, and that's why my wife was like, you gotta see therapy because you can kind of, you know, so now it's like I drink not as a habit. I drink just to socialize and, you know, don't get, you know, it's, you know, I learned how to kind of cope with it and kind of have it like as a healthier choice. Like if you're having a bad day and, you know, if I'm having a bad day, I know if I'm going to go do that, that's not good. I'll be, you know.
It'll amplify the.
Yes.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
So you have that discipline where you know your capabilities and you know better. You know?
It's been good. It's been really good this past year, but I could say I still have my moments.
Some of us know it's stupid and we still do it anyway. Figure it out later.
Yeah.
Damn. And you mentioned mentor. I love that word. I hope to someday be, you know, regarded as such by someone.
Yeah.
Hopefully I can learn from my mistakes and help someone else eventually. Ideally, I should start at home with my own kids.
Yeah.
You know, for the future, and the kids are the future, right?
Mm-hmm.
What's his name? That guy that owns Virgin Airlines, Richard Branson, or
Richard, the guy with the long gray hair, right?
Yeah, he said, "Don't judge me by my success. Judge me by my children's, or how my children turn out." Some shit like that. I really need to write down these quotes, but I hope you get the point.
Yeah.
You know. So what good is it if you're successful but you failed at raising your kids and they're losers?
Yeah.
Are you really successful?
Not in that aspect.
Yeah.
Gotta leave it for the kids.
So that one keeps coming to me.
Yeah.
You know, and that's why we do what we do, to leave, create that generational wealth and figure it out along the way so that they don't have to go through it.
Yeah.
But also don't want to just hand it to them because then it's not valued. You know, I feel the way we grew up impacted our desire to succeed.
It's funny you say that. I totally agree with you on that. I'm not sure what part.
You got any stories of the struggle?
Yeah, dude. Grew up in La Puente. My parents, you know, they lost a house, and I think for a long time it was my parents, my older brother that's disabled, mentally disabled. He's autistic. Okay. And then I have my sister. I remember living in a 2-bedroom condo in West Covina, La Puente. I used to hate life. I used to share a sofa bed with my brother. My sister had a room, and parents had a room, and my parents going through that struggle. And then obviously the environment we're in, it was like gangs, taggers, and you gotta act hard. If you don't act, if you don't act hard, you just get bullied all the time. I felt like an outcast during my high school years. I shit you not, excuse my friends, an outcast for sure. And just
you felt like a fucking outcast, guys.
Yes. But just going through that whole, like, I remember my dad used to always tell me, my parents were the first ones to come here from Mexico to California, and they became citizens. So we're like the first generations, I guess.
They call us the pochos.
The pochos,
right?
Yeah. I remember my dad used to always tell me, I came here to give you guys a better life, working like a fucking dog. And he used to tell me that every day, dropping me off to school. And I took that to heart. Everything I do is for my wife and the kids and for my parents, because, I wanted them to know, like, I didn't take that for granted, this opportunity. And, parents, that love, I used to play baseball. I remember, like, they buy me like a baseball glove. That'll be like the whole week's worth of their check on my dad's side or something.
Yeah.
To give me, and they'll sacrifice, for food or bills, and just little stuff like that. So just appreciate a lot of the small things, you know what I mean? And I think growing up, seeing their struggle made me just be like, I don't want to put my kids through that. But now I have to find that balance, how to have my kids appreciate what I appreciated growing up from a different aspect.
Yeah, the value comes with the intention and the sacrifice that, that came from that, or what had to be done.
Yeah.
I guess what I'm trying to say is, like, if I give you my last $10 that I have to my name, and I genuinely want you to have a meal with that, that's worth more than a millionaire giving you $100.
Yeah.
In that comparison.
Yeah.
Just a scenario.
No, yeah.
Here's $100. Get away from me. But me, it's like, man, this is all I have. But
I'm getting literally like the shirt off my back.
Yeah, so we value that,
Yeah.
And here you are now, man. Life's a trip.
Yeah, it is a trip. And like I said, now I just kind of, what can I do to pay it forward? I had, like I said, mentor. Like I know you said that's a great word.
Yes.
Yeah, so.
How does one find a mentor? And what do you say, hey, will you be my mentor? Like, is there some, I know it's not something that you get a contract or something, but when people say that, I always wonder how that goes down. Like, you want to be my mentor? Like, how does that happen?
It just comes in naturally, dude. Like, my mentor is the previous owner, and, it's like, and everyone, it's funny because this guy, Keith, it's like, he's, I think, 62, 63. Mm-hmm. And when we go out, for dinner, be him and his wife and I, they look at us, it's like, who's this person with this person? And like, they don't, and they always ask like, oh, how you guys know each other? And it's kind of, we always make it awkward. Like, he's like, I'm like his mentor / friend / father figure. It's like, we know how it's like a weird dynamic, but the relationship is there. We have the good chemistry, it's just, it's hard to describe it to people.
When he pisses me off, he's my stepbrother. Or primos lejanos.
Primos. But yeah, it's
so it just happens
naturally. It just happens.
And the mentor says, "I'm okay being your mentor." Never mind. I don't know what I'm trying to say. It's like like, okay, it's gonna be a horrible scenario, but like, let's say, no.
You can say it, I guess.
It's like, hey, let's say a single parent, the guy comes in and, will you be my daddy? Like, so it's like, will you be my mentor? Like, you know what I mean? Like, at what point do you establish that? Like, what are the traits or the qualities of a mentor? Like, what do you, okay, he has this, he has that. Yeah, that's mentor status or mentor material.
Honestly, he shares a good mentor. I feel like he shared all his mistakes and what he would have done differently. And then I think that I have a good advantage because, like, okay, I'm in the same scenario. How could I do it different now? Because every time I'm in a big bind, I call him like for advice. And, sometimes he has advice, sometimes he does it, but majority of times he does. And then,
I'm retired. Fuck off.
Yeah. And there's times, like, if I'm in your shoes, just gives me that little, and he's like, what, that makes sense. He just reassures me if I'm going towards the right direction, or
It's funny when you hear that from the right person. It's so you get that sense of safety.
Yeah.
But it's also risky. You know why? a lot of dreams have died by people that have a dream. Well, most old school parents, especially Mexicans, like let's just say, or Latinos, let's just say, right?
Yeah.
Papá, es que yo quiero ser un cantante, you know?
Yeah.
No mames, güey, ponte a trabajar mejor, you know? Córtate esos pelos, güey. What you doing with those estos pinches piercings, all this shit? You know what I mean?
I see what you mean.
And because he idolizes his father so much, he's like, you know what? My father's probably right, and let that dream die. So it could go both ways. Sometimes it's not their intention, but just their opinion has that much impact that it can alter your destiny. You know?
Yeah, that's true. There's times that he disagrees on some of my decisions, and after the fact, like I think the Texas, he was a little worried about the Texas location.
Okay.
Yeah, and like perfect example.
Okay.
I'm not too sure. He's like, but if you know, because you know, he's not looking at it from a business standpoint. He's also looking from a personal standpoint. Like, you sure you're gonna be able to do this? It's a lot of travel, a lot of time away from your kids, your wife, all that stuff.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm like, yeah, I could do it. You know. And then like the first 2 months was hard, but like now, since August to now, that location is profitable and that location's good. We don't need to be there as much. And then he's like, oh, you know, he kind of was like, well, seems like you did good, you know, like I was wrong.
Yeah.
So, you know, there's times like, you know, he's cautiously tells me, but he doesn't say like, don't do it. You know, he just warns me this could happen. So, but it's just kind of, I think like I say, it goes back to character. You know, I'm going to prove this person wrong. I'm going to make sure I succeed.
Yeah.
So that's my opinion.
That's great. And then Arizona. So at what point do you feel like, okay, now's a good time to move on to Arizona? Like, how do you know you're good? Like if you're painting a house, you know, you're going to go room by room. So how do you know the Texas room is fully painted and now you can go to Arizona? You know,
the good thing is right now I have cousins out there in Texas. One of my cousin,
see what I mean? Like it's expanding, everybody's winning, like the whole family line, or you know what I mean? Like,
I have family, friends, and you know, even people that I haven't met since they come on board.
That must feel good. Come through, like, hey, I got this opportunity for you guys.
Yeah. Oh yeah,
let's grow.
My cousin's happy. He's actually from Arizona.
Okay.
And he did flatbed work from Arizona to California or California to Vegas for 15 years. And he never done container work. And he's like, hell no, I'm never going to go to California and do port work. But he...
we're like the same, like skin type, sort of. ¿No seremos primos?
Probably.
You think we're cousins, bro?
So cousins? I wear glasses too.
Yeah.
But he's out there helping me start the operation. So it's been successful. And, you know, I really value his opinion. Like I said, owner-operators, drivers... I really do value their opinion, and it just shows like by me valuing their opinion, we're able to tweak the operation to way it's better for them, better for us, better for the customer. So Arizona is pretty much for him. You know, he lives in Arizona, so once he already has a couple trucks out there in Texas. Once he's done, he's gonna go to Arizona. I'm gonna give him that location for him. That's like my way of saying thank you. And you know, and if I need to open up another location, he said the same thing. Like, hey, if you need to open up in Savannah or New Jersey or somewhere else, you're like, I'll go out there and check it out for you. You know, he'll go out there for 3 months and work and see how it is. So I think that's a good blueprint for me. I have the person that drives.
Do you take notes of what you did for it to be successful in Texas and then just duplicate that in each state from now on? Or you think, is that a good strategy? Like, how do you...
I think
you obviously learned something from it and you're going to...
Yeah, I think it's
repeat. Sorry, I keep cutting you off.
Yeah,
go ahead.
No worries. I think it's a good foundation.
Okay.
A good blueprint, but obviously every location is a different market. So I think that's why if like the foundation is, you know, we have our team to support, you know, from out here, and I have my cousins that drive, they have the field. So if we could work it out to make it the way we want to know, it's like, how could we sell it? He'll tell me all the pros and cons of the lane. And how could we fix the cons? And then from there, what we could do is like, okay, there's the pros. Let's sell it off to owner operators. How this is the good lane. You know, obviously the rate has to be there. You know, at market price and all that good stuff. How could we sell it off? So we literally treat it like a business development for the driver's perspective as well. So,
in new markets, do you ever feel you gotta fake it till you make it. As far as capacity goes, for example, guys that are starting out, I've seen it happen where they just wanna. They have five trucks or one truck, right? And they take on something that the capacity requirement is, we need 20 boxes moved, or you know what I mean?
Yeah.
There's guys that'll take that risk and just to secure the lane. Is that a good method, or you think that can be backfire on you?
Like, be over capacity?
Yeah, like let's say Arizona, you'll be able to venture there because they have a certain number they want to hit, and you, for the sake of getting the lane, you'll say yes and figure it out as you go.
Honestly, excuse my French, I hate when people do carriers that over do capacity. Like, they booked 120% of their capacity. You know what I mean? They do that extra 20% just
then they're looking for owner ops,
and then doing it
like crazy.
What I do is I tell them, like, number one, I ask the customer, like, how many loads a day, how many loads a week, on average, how many drivers you need per day, and then from there I structure. And then if I can't fill it up when the live date, I'm straight honest. I only have one driver. I only have two drivers. I only have 3 drivers for this lane. Honestly, other key things, in my opinion, transparency. Be very transparent. I think customers, because my customers are back east, they don't know nothing that's going on where we're picking up loads. Mm-hmm. So we could give them a visual, their eyes and ears, and be like straight up honest with them. That goes a long way versus, oh yeah, I have 100 loads. We could do it. In reality, you can only do 50 or 75. Oh, then that just leaves a bad taste in customers' mouth. That's my opinion.
What if you already have the trucks, you have something going, but what about someone that doesn't have shit and they could afford to take that hit? Like, if they end on bad terms with that customer because they didn't meet the capacity, at least they shot their shot.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It's like, I'll figure it out as I go. I'll get a couple guys to help me.
Yeah.
It feels like you got to do that, though. Like, at that point, the transparency is against you. Like, what, you have one truck and you're going to just have your buddies help you? Nah, we're good. If you wouldn't have lied, you wouldn't get it. That's how some people think. Even I think like that to some extent,
Honestly, I think because of the relationships we have with our customers, and because, we became, a lot of our customers are more like, they're our customers, but it's like a little bit more than customers, like on a personal level, you know what I mean? We become kind of like friends, kind of. And they, as advice from a customer's perspective, they like that transparency. They're like, you know what? I like the way you do your work. I like the way you email us. I like how you do your billing and everything. All right, we'll give you try one. You have one driver. All right, you have one truck. We'll give you this lane, because they have other carriers they could use, But if they like the way you work, they like the way you present yourself, then, I think honestly,
emails matter. I'm writing that down.
Emails matter.
Transparency, emails,
communication. That all that stuff matters. So, and obviously, we're gonna be.
So you never. Go ahead.
Yeah. So now we're gonna be using technology as far as I think we're gonna be going over to Pros.
Yeah.
We're actually in training right now. So
Great.
I think that's gonna be even more automated transparency, visibility, all that good stuff. I think it's gonna help.
It's gonna be great.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. So I honestly think, but at the same time, you have that technology. You want to make sure everything's all fully automated. How can you still keep that relationship balance too? Just remember that, my employees have to remember that, just keep that balance of relationships.
So what I'm taking from this is that if you're just starting out, you only have one truck, let them know, hey, I have one truck. I'll be honest with you, I have one truck. I know you guys, most companies want like 10 and up, but this is what I got right now. But if you give me a chance, and always, work out a possibility. Yeah. Like, I'm here. Yeah. Even if I'm your last choice.
I'm your backup carrier.
Go from there. Then they'll shoot you a couple loads, knowing that you don't have capacity. So now if you can't cover it, there's no hard feelings. Yeah. And you don't burn that bridge.
Correct.
I like that. I thought I was slick, But cool. Thank you for that.
Anytime.
So yeah, we're almost getting to the end of this. I'd assume that the bigger the company gets, the more pressure you feel to really choose the right people to join the team. So what do you look for in someone that you're gonna consider working with?
Right now, so the past couple years, I've been looking at operation structure.
Mm-hmm.
Now I'm looking more business-minded structure. So I have this some guy named Isaac.
What's up, Isaac?
He probably will see this podcast when it comes out. He actually lives in Georgia. He's going to be coming out to California. And he was actually in the healthcare industry doing contracts for testing labs, getting collected from insurance, all that stuff. He was actually like people's right-hand people from CEOs and stuff like that.
Yeah.
I think bringing him on board, he's going to have that business mindset. You know what I mean? So have someone else but to help me with the business stressfulness, kind of go from there. And then also bringing in more, operation people, dispatchers and, account receivable people, account payable. And number one thing, I never go with, hey, you're only going to be a dispatcher. This is your job. I like to bring people with multiple hats. I tell them, like, hey, you're going to be this and this, because it gives them opportunity to get paid more. They get more money out of it. They become more valuable to the company. I feel like when people start like, oh, I have my AP department out here, I have my AR team here, oh, and I have my compliance department over there, you just, everything's all department section off, I feel like you kind of plateau, you know what I mean? Like, in my opinion, like, I feel like my mentor gave me all these multiple hats. I kind of want to pay it forward and see if they're able to do those multiple hats, because at the end of the day, they become really valuable. They know operations, they know compliance, they know, AP, AR, and they know, IT stuff. So
you know how to pick them pretty much.
And then character.
Are you confident that you know how to pick your guys?
I'm gonna let my team comment on this podcast.
Well, of course, they're gonna say, "Yeah, we're great. We're the best there ever was."
Or our drivers or operators, they could comment.
Basically, you haven't regretted hiring anyone so far.
I have not so far. No, everyone's great. Everyone's and then you got to ask an interview questions. I like to ask character trait questions as well. I like to add not just about the experience. A lot of people that started here, they had no experience.
How intense are those questions? They're not like the ASVAB, the military questions, right?
Oh no,
those are intense. Like,
yeah.
Would you have sex with your sister? There's some weird shit on those questions.
Yes. Yeah, I didn't know. It's more about like what type of character you are, like like what kind of traits they have.
Yeah.
So, I think I asked a lot more questions of like those versus how do you do Excel? Have you done a TMS system? Have you learned compliance? Because once they have that grit, once they're driven, once they're hungry, like I like to say, the underdogs, and once people plateau and they don't have in their other career able to step up because they work in government sections, and you have to wait until the old person retires to get ahead.
Yeah.
So I looked for like those type of people.
And then those people naturally stand out sometimes. So I'm sure it's easier once they're in, the confirmation comes through with their actions.
Yes.
Right. I bet there's a lot of misleading resumes out there where they beef it up, and then there's people with no resumes that have better work ethic than some with the cleanest resumes.
Yeah.
What's your biggest fear in operations? What's your biggest fear that what could go wrong? What is one thing that you're like, oh shit, if this fucks up, it'll really fuck shit up for a bit? Like,
biggest fear in operations.
I'll throw you a hint. Is it a dispatcher screws up and didn't catch a container? It's been there for months. Now you owe thousands of demurrage.
Don't really come across those issues.
Okay.
Like I said, with the seashell line, with the way we have things set up, flexibility wise, it's nice.
Good relationship.
Exactly. But I honestly think my biggest fear is getting too comfortable. Getting too comfortable, we start creating shortcuts, start half-assing our work.
Yeah.
Because, obviously if we made it this far, we don't want to start taking a step backwards and start kind of going back. Because then if we start going backwards, it's going to transpire to our drivers, transpire to our customers.
Keep the foot on the throttle like the way you had it that got you here, right? Don't ease off.
Don't ease off. Be consistent about it too.
Okay.
That's my biggest fear, because then, I'm going to hear it from people.
Any advice for, to wrap things up? Any advice for the new carriers out there, the small carriers in particular? That's like a trend right now, because of the AB5 scare. It created this. I may be wrong, but I feel that's what happened. Like, everyone has their own authority right now.
Yeah.
So in reality, they're LMCs, licensed motor carriers. Yeah. They're little company. They have potential right now. That's the legit way to go, right? They can grow.
Yes.
So what advice do you have for someone like that with one truck that has a dream to end up like you?
Just when you're reaching out to people, like customers and all that good stuff, create the relationship first. It might take time, or it might take like a month, or just building that relationship. Take that relationship, build that relationship. And I promise, and I'm not gonna say promise because I want to get sued or something. But I guarantee you, once you build that relationship, work will come. I honestly think build that relationship first. Be honest with them, be transparent, be communicative with them, and build that relationship with the customers. And then once things work out, you're gonna be working with someone that you like. You have someone that you're just like, man, I like talking to this person. I like to call the phones. Don't you hate when you have those customers that you don't like to talk with them, so you ignore their calls? Like, I don't have that, but I see it in other people. Oh man, this person's calling me. I'm not gonna answer it. I don't like talking to that person. So you want to, when someone calls you, I get sad. Someone calls me, like one of my customers, or they call the operations team. We're all excited. Oh, this person's calling. Pick up the phone. Hey, what's up, dude? Kind of go from there.
They say you could pick up a smile through a phone call for some reason. I don't know if you believe that.
I do.
Yeah.
Yeah, I do. So I think seek out relationships first, and then work will follow. That's my opinion.
Great advice. I'm starting this. One last thing. I just saw it on my notes. I circled the side of the T. I just want to let you know that if you did that intentionally, that's pretty cool. The T, it looks like the pico, like the beak of a bird.
Yeah.
Is that what it is?
Well, it's because Talon.
Yeah.
So they made. But speaking of this, we're actually going to revamp our logo. It's coming this coming week. So you're gonna be able to see it. I'll show you after the podcast.
Yeah, I got a guy for you if you like some of the artwork I have so far.
No, yeah, that one's nice. Yeah, especially for the podcast. Like, that'll be like a nice little setup.
Yeah, we still got a long ways to go in here. A lot of space, as you can see, to add some artwork.
Yeah,
and whatnot.
I gotta give you the hookups on the pictures I have.
I really like that one. Yeah. You should have brought me that one.
I should have brought you that one?
Yeah, and just, like, I don't want to wait for you to buy one. Just give me that one that you have. Nah, just kidding.
Give it to you.
Yeah, there's a lot of artwork out there. Just don't know what to pick. Once you go online, a ton of shit comes out.
Yeah.
I just ordered a poster from the Man in the Arena quote by Theodore Roosevelt.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. I haven't memorized it, but in essence, it just says that everyone likes to judge the man in the arena. It's easy to talk shit about something you're not involved in, looking from the outside in.
Yeah.
So that one sticks with me because sometimes people criticize and fuck them.
A lot of people criticize, and just
if they're not in your shoes, then they don't know what it's like.
Yeah. If you like those type of quotes, you have to look up Jordan Peterson. He's a speaker.
Dude, I love the way he speaks, man.
Same here.
Yeah, it's just sometimes I gotta rewind and hear it again.
Yeah.
But his vocabulary is intense,
and you get to see it, like the way he talks.
Yeah, I bought his book, the 12 Laws or the 12 Rules
of Life. Yeah.
I must confess, it's there, but I'll get to it.
I have it on Audible. I'm kind of Yeah.
Yeah. I lost my password. So, but yeah, man, it's great. Those things help then. So you do listen to motivational stuff, and
Oh yeah.
so it has a lot to do with the way you carry yourself, right? Because what you feed your mind, it reveals itself in your actions, and then those actions lead to change, and it's a ripple effect.
Yeah. Law
Right?
of attraction.
So fuck toxic thoughts, and yeah, man. Thank you so much for your time. I know this goodbye, I kind of extended it right now. I tend to do that. I don't know if I have ADHD, bro.
Oh.
I get distracted a lot.
Oh no, you're good.
You know what I mean?
It was good
I
conversation.
was literally saying, okay, I was literally saying, yeah, on a, we're about to wrap this up. Any advice? Yeah, by the way, the T in your logo has a fucking beak on it. You know? Oh, this is a note that I made for you. Look. Talons, right?
Mm-hmm.
This is what the birds, carnivorous birds,
Mm-hmm.
use to carry items like nest material, food, and prey. And the funny thing is that the company carries household goods, right?
Yeah.
And food and other things, you know. It's just funny how it lined up. But anyway, that's just a little nerdy note that I put there.
I like your notes.
I was supposed to start with that, but now I'm ending with that.
No worries.
So, okay, now I promise I'm about to let you go. But first, we got this thing going where our guest autographed the table.
Okay.
So pick one of those Sharpies and pick a spot and drop anything you want.
All right. Let's see. Yeah, I ain't no tagger, that's for sure. Let me put it right here.
La Poderosa, your company name, whatever. A heart. I think he's writing one of his favorite quotes.
Oh no, I'm just writing the name of the company. I just put Manny.
All right.
There you
Nice.
go.
Thank you
Sweet.
so much for
Thank
coming
you.
by and taking time out of your day to share some of your gems with other people out there seeking knowledge.
Yeah,
You know?
appreciate you having me. It's an honor, and honestly, can't wait for you to check out our office when you're out in Norco area.
Yeah, I'll return I'll go back. I'm down to go check it out. I know you're in the works, right, to do a podcast yourself.
Correct.
What's that name going to be again?
Logistics Nerds, powered by Talon Logistics.
Nice.
Yeah.
I'll be sure to listen, and if you'll have me, I'll I just invited myself, but
You're
I'm gonna pull up.
You're on the guest list, that's for sure.
I'm gonna go pick up that artwork.
Come
All
on
right.
by.
Thank you guys for listening. I hope this podcast was interesting, helpful. I hope you learned something today, and keep it pushing, keep that hustle going, and I'll catch you guys on the next one.